If somebody is involved in an underlying crime, those who act in concert with or participate or fail to act in a way that shows their duty to protect and serve, they could have a form of accomplice liability. So this is going to tell us a great deal. But right now, we appear to be in step 2 of the call for justice. First the firing, now the arrest. The charge is important.
I want to ask you about the intent that you said, because if the intent of whether the officer intended to kill George Floyd versus whether a reasonable person should have known that that was what they were in the process of doing, how much does that matter?
Well, there are different degrees under the umbrella of murder. It goes from intent to unintentional. However, you look at the unlawful killing of somebody, intent plays but one aspect of the calculation. It's one role to consider. The Minnesota Code and Criminal Code recognizes even unintentional killings. They recognize if somebody has a disregard for human life, if they're acting in a way where they should be able to foresee that the natural consequences of their action will be the end of life. All of that is taken into consideration. So the intent is one aspect to look at. But also to consider here, you have, following the shooting of Jamar Clark, you had written into the police code in Minneapolis's police department about a duty to intervene. The idea that you have a duty and obligation, if you see a colleague engaging in behavior that is excessive and does not meet the current threat posed, then they have to intervene. We see here all this playing out, intent or not.
They
Laura,
arrested
thank you so much. If you can stand by for me, I do want to go
the
to
officer who
Omar
knelt
Jimenez. You were
on
the
George
ground there.
Floyd.
And I'm wondering if people around you are receiving this news yet. Have you gotten any reaction from people around there?
I haven't seen any visible reaction just yet, though we do know that there is a crowd over there standing together, as they have been in front of Minnesota State Patrol here. But this is big news for a lot of the protesters and even the family as well, who had been looking for
They have the police department,
to happen
Minneapolis.
at the very least. One being
Well,
taken into
actually,
custody,
the Minnesota
the one taken into custody, Derek Chauvin, he is the one
State
in the
Police and the National
cell phone
Guard.
video, and horrific cell phone video, to be frank, of his knee on the neck of George Floyd. We know, just given his history that we had looked into, he had 18 prior complaints filed against him, though the Department of Internal Affairs, the police department, wouldn't go into further detail as to what those were. Obviously, this is someone who has been a central figure, for better or for worse, in this story here. So to have him being taken into custody, you wonder what sort of effect that will have
18
on
prior
the
complaints.
passion of protesting that we may or may not see.
This is
into the
Lightning
evening.
Dave.
The governor spoke about how